Special event alert.
Get out of your car and run! This is Late for Changeover, your weekly space news and variety show. I'm Marty Smith, your host, and with me today is Mr. History, Eric Perrott.
Guys, it's always a pleasure.
Our man in the closet, Jake Wall.
Swimming in flannel.
And the notorious Big Vern, Mike Johns.
How's it going, everybody?
We're here to bring you the latest headlines and updates pertinent to all Guardians and to the other lesser branches as well. So take your seats, get informed, and have a laugh as we present Late for Changeover. Gentlemen, it's good to see you as always. You know, it was like that first show when you were on, Mike, that you did your little Matthew McConaughey, and then you haven't done anything creative since. I keep hoping that maybe you'll pick it back up.
He's feeling it out. He's settling in.
This is like,
I'm trying to keep the house show.
The season's 3/4 over. Come on, pick it up.
We have seasons?
Not really. I was trying to make Balcom Teapot would have got that football joke. So that's what it. You know.
His season's over. His season is more than 3/4 over.
Not only win a national championship, but they're done for another 20 years or what? So
I don't know, man.
Oh, you never know. They might have one more in there. Well, no, because what's his name?
No way. They all transferred out of there, man.
Yeah.
I still like Dan Campbell, though, man.
That's too bad.
Yeah, I hear you. I like Dan Campbell too. Yeah.
I think everybody was rooting on him, especially me when my Bucks got knocked out, man. When Tampa Bay got knocked out, I was like, shit.
Hey, I got to give you credit. I was rooting for Baker. That was the only thing
Right
I was
on.
rooting for. I don't know why. I like him, but
He played like shit.
I was rooting for Tampa Bay, but
yeah.
You guys are truly friends. You guys are true friends.
no, it was just for the All-Star Web era.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Mike
fucking
Allstott.
awesome.
Yeah.
Allstott and Webb.
He was a freight train, man.
And the creamsicle uniforms back in the day. Those
what was it? You guys had a name for that pirate, right? There was a name for him, I thought.
Yep. Oh, man.
Scurvy Swamp.
Right? Petey the Pirate?
Petey the Pirate. I'll tell you what that was.
Now it's generic Pirate 4.
Yeah, right. Hey, I watched those first couple episodes of Masters of the Air on Apple TV.
Oh, yeah. How was it?
And you go into it because I didn't think the Pacific, because I had too many Band of Brothers expectations. So I went into the Pacific and I was like, this isn't even close, man. This is hard to follow. And they didn't have a group that you could follow episode by episode. Anyway, I got to give it a rewatch and give it another chance. But I was fresh off of Band of Brothers when the Pacific came out, and I was like, "Oh, this is going to be great." And it didn't hold up because I had too many expectations.
And everybody died in the Pacific.
Right, that's what I mean. You were constantly putting new characters up.
Geez.
Right. So it was tough to follow as a series, but so far for 2 episodes. I was real reluctant. I was like, this is all going to be green screen. It's not even going to be. And you got to get rid of Memphis Belle. That's all that's running through my head. Memphis Belle, right? And they did a bunch of similar things in the first episode that Memphis Belle did. We're on fire. We got to dive. You got to help me bring it out. That kind of thing. But as it went on, I was like, oh, this is good. And they got a couple characters that you're following alongside with. So it's really interesting. Shows a lot of stuff that they did on the B-17 that you had no ideas that you had to do.
That's nice.
I mean, they were signaling to get information. They had this flare gun stuck to the top of the plane, and they would load it and they'd fire a flare out of the plane. And the other pilots would see that and they're like, oh, God, get information. I was like, wow, that's really something you don't know about. Yeah. They had a guy in the ball turret. The ball turret got shot, and so air was coming in, and he had pissed himself because he'd been in there. They're 6-hour missions or whatever, and it was so cold he got frostbite, and he had to be taken off and had to get I don't know if he had to get skin grafts or not, but I didn't realize, goddamn, it was that cold. You know,
Well,
so,
if there was a hole in
Yeah.
it. Woo.
yeah, it's pretty interesting. So it seems like it's going to be good.
Captain Fear, by the way. Captain Fear.
That was the name of that
No,
pirate?
it's the current one now. Captain Fear is the Tampa Bay Buccaneer guy now.
Yeah,
Oh,
Pete
we
was
went
a lot
back.
like gay.
Yeah.
Hey man, I like
Captain
following up
Fear.
on shit. Captain Fear.
Yeah,
would
but
be
I wanted
cool.
to know the name of the original.
Oh shit,
know.
man. I don't know.
Well, that was the original question.
He's old. He gets sidetracked.
Hey,
early.
what was the original pirate? All right, I'll look it up. The new pirate is this.
Oh, let's see.
So my wife hasn't had an ID card in a long time. She hasn't really needed it, but she's using, benefits and all that stuff, and they give her a hard time. And she finally got a referral to go see this cardiologist. So I was like, well, let's go get you an ID card so Triker doesn't pull some dumb shit. And I go, well, you don't have an ID, we can't get you. So finally went to Buckley, and we're getting her ID card, and they're new. They almost look like cat cards, the new ones, right? But the guy says, hey, what about your ID card? And I showed him the old blue-green one, retired one that's in
It's
depth.
a beauty.
He goes,
It's a beauty.
oh, you got to replace that. We're going to be replacing those by the end of 2025. I was like, really? And he goes, yeah, we're all going to this new one. So I was like, well, fuck. Can you do mine today? And he's like, yeah, I think I got time. It took him like 5 minutes. So that's what the new one's looking like. See, it almost looks like a cat card. Right?
Yep, it
Yeah.
does.
But that's a new one. So if you guys got that blue-green retirement in-depth ID card, you need to go and get this one before the end of next year. Now, I guess they had put this out a couple years ago, but nobody's going to tell us
Yep.
until you go and go, oh, this is expired. You can't get on base.
Yeah.
Well, and the thing
And
is, I
that
went and got
blue
my-
card it's a badge of honor. That
Yeah.
blue
Kind of,
card,
yeah,
you're like,
yeah.
oh yeah, I got
Yeah.
my blue card.
Well, and I got my wife one about a year ago and asked about, the ID cards. And they're like, oh, no, yours is fine until, it expires in 46. And so, I was there and I was like, well, can we just get a new one now? He's like, no, you're good. So we'll see how that all works out. They're saying by the end of
When did you get
2025.
that? When did you retire?
I retired in 2020.
So how do they come up with an arbitrary 46?
It's got to be your age. What age?
40.
Well,
Or I was 38 when I retired.
Well, do the math. It seems so arbitrary.
It's too much work. I'm looking at mine. 43.
43?
Yeah.
Huh. Well,
In depth.
yeah, I was in.
I know. As
But-
soon as you get to a certain, I think it's a certain age, then you get in deaf.
No, I need a new one, obviously.
I gotcha. Well, now wait a minute. I was 46 when I retired.
Vern, is yours 65? If you were 65, is that when you get yours expires?
Yeah, that would make sense. Yeah. 81
Yeah.
to 65.
Jake
Yeah.
unraveled the mystery.
Oh,
Gentlemen,
bonus points. I'm going
Tampa
for
Bay
that award.
mascot, Bucko
Award.
Bruce.
See, Bucko Bruce. I knew it was some goofball name, but
Bucko Bruce.
Bucko
Bruce.
Bruce.
Jeez.
The Bucko Bruce.
Yeah.
I mean, he didn't look like a bucko. He looked slick. He looked smooth, man.
Yeah.
That
I like the
original
Jolly
Tampa
Rogers that we
Bay-
got now.
Yeah, well,
That's much
that's
better.
true. You can't
Much
beat that
better.
ship. Have you been to the stadium?
Dude, I was just there when they played New Orleans, right
I didn't
next to the
realize
Through his
you were
Pirates.
panties.
at the game.
Yeah,
But
that's at the game.
okay, all right. Sorry.
I
Hey,
bought
he wore
tickets for my
special
kid,
panties
man.
just to throw. I'm
I
like,
had a
Eric, it's not a
Tom
Van Halen
Brady-
concert, man.
I had a Tom Brady jersey on. Come on.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
So
In a bucko thong.
You must have saw me. You must have saw me. I was there.
All prancing around in your jersey and thong. Look
Oh,
like
yeah.
you're Winnie the Pooh in it.
what is
With
it?
the red and no
Is it-
bottoms.
It's all of my
Pewter-
fans. My only
Pewter
fans.
and something pewter and I don't know what the hell your colors are now. Anyway, let's you've been on a flight line. Jake, you're on a flight line, right? You're
Yeah,
a maintainer.
yeah.
I don't know if that's a flight line encompasses all those guys.
Oh yeah.
Throwing flashlights around.
Let's show you the glory and glamour of being on the flight line.
Oh my God.
That's a mountain home a few days or last week during all that cold snap.
Woo.
Where's the pilots? You know the pilots ain't out there.
That is freaking hideous, man.
Will the pilots come out and just go, look, we're with you on this? Will they shovel?
Probably
Yeah.
depends on the pilot. I'm sure some would.
No.
Would the
No,
A10
they
guys come
won't.
out there?
No.
No.
That was one thing that was funny is about like F-16 pilots relatively close to all look the same like body
Oh,
size.
Yeah.
8 and 15 pilots are pretty close to the same. A10s, you'll have a freaking 5'2", 150-pound white guy, and then a freaking linebacker from the freaking Air Force Academy. You're like,
Oh,
what
yeah.
the hell?
Wow.
That seat's totally adjustable. You're fine. Just cram in there. You're good.
And so you're gonna ask that guy, hey, you want to show solidarity
You
with the
wanna show
enlisted
me?
out here and come shovel? He's
Get
like,
out of
"I
here.
don't
They're
wanna
not
get
shoveling
shoveled."
crap.
I went to the academy.
I'm surprised
so
they
I
don't have
to.
a hangers. Yeah, exactly. I'm surprised they don't have hangers.
Yeah, especially mountain home. I mean, it's all just open out there. That's crazy.
Well, they may have hangars. They may still just have operational aircraft that are ready for takeoff if need be. I think you can have both at most bases where you have hangars and
Like the
open
alert
bays. Yeah.
ones. Yeah.
Oh man, that's a lot of planes to have.
That was quite a
outside.
few that were
But maybe you're right.
hangers.
Well,
are expensive
they were
too.
covered. They were covered, weren't they?
Yeah.
I think in the video
Yeah.
they were covered.
Well, yeah, on top.
Well, that's what I meant.
I mean, that's what we had in Kuwait, though.
Yeah, no
At least you had,
protection
like,
from
a
the
little-
sandstorms or anything like that. So
No.
Right.
Jeez, man. Let's not
Right.
be ridiculous.
in fact, those shades are so high up. Not really sure what they. I mean, maybe the sun. I guess.
I'd go for yes.
I'd say yes.
I mean, but you
Shades.
you're gonna have a big square out way over here. I don't know. It just-
Can you imagine how hot that cockpit would get if you
Ooh.
just left it out in the sun for a day?
well, I
Yeah,
guess. I mean, if it covers the
pretty
cockpit
toasty.
the whole time, I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, let's get on the news. This first story, my sister actually sent it to me. It's from Mashable.com. I've never gone there, but Japan's robotic moon lander landed upside down.
That a baby.
So let me. Oh, look at that.
Lead the way,
And-
Japan.
Okay.
There they are, right? So, the Japan Aerospace Exploration Agency, NASA's Japanese space counterpart known as JAXA, released this image January 25th, 5 days after it descended onto the moon. Shortly after touchdown, the mission team for SLIM, which is short for Smart Lander for Investigating the Moon. It's not
How
a very
appropriate.
creative acronym.
How appropriate.
Not very smart, obviously. A mission team for SLIM realized the spacecraft's solar panels weren't making electricity because they were buried in the moon dust. Because of the lander's now apparent inverted position, its solar panels weren't oriented correctly to generate power. According to the space agency, the team elected to conserve power by shutting down the spacecraft about 2.5 hours after landing. What's perhaps as surprising as the photo of what's perhaps as surprising as it fell over. Well, let's read why it fell over. SLIM lost the thrust of one of its two main engines shortly before the touchdown for unknown reasons and ended up drifting a few dozen meters away from the target. The lander safely stopped on a gentle slope but appeared toppled with an engine facing upward. So, how did they get those pictures? Well, right before it landed, two small rovers separated from the crewless mothership just prior to touchdown. The little robots called LEV-2 and LEV-1 were made with the help of Japanese toy maker Takara Tomy and are designed in a sphere shape that splits in half so that cameras are exposed which point both front and back. The bisections also become the rover's wheels. Now check this out. Those are the two little robots, or those are the robots.
Damn,
And they're the
that's
size
cool.
of a baseball.
They're
That's freaking
adorable.
cool.
So on the left is its travel config, and then it splits apart, and those two halves become the wheel.
Now that's
So-
pretty damn innovative.
I know,
That's-
that's like the coolest
that's
part of this
freaking
whole
cool.
story.
That is cool.
The
Yeah, I want those to
company,
patrol my house.
what's that?
I want those to patrol my house. If I could have a gang of those, just
Oh
patrol
yeah,
my
yeah,
house,
right. Just go back and forth. That'd be
that'd be
awesome.
dope.
Takara Tomy is perhaps most famous for originally creating the Transformers, the robots that can disguise themselves as machines. So it figures. I mean, they get that kind of technology. They're like, hey, we'll do this for real.
So was
And-
this configuration based on not the freaking Autobots or some shit, but a toy at first? Since it was a toy.
I don't know. I don't know, but if that was
That's
the
damn cool.
U.S. and we did that for us, NASA would be making a mint off of those things right now.
That's
right?
freaking
Oh,
cool.
they'd be selling them like crazy, huh?
Oh yeah, yeah.
I bet
Yeah.
that's
Welcome to
that's
Cape
a small
Canaveral.
fortune.
Would you like a replica of our robot?
Burn
this-
if it could patrol and then electrify and just tase whoever comes in. I'd be in. Like those little spiders in that way back in the day movie Runaway with Tom
I was thinking
Selleck.
Minority
There's-
Report.
Oh,
that's a good one.
no,
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
no! I know what you're talking about. That had the
Was it
guy
Tom
from Kiss
Selleck?
was in it, right? The lead singer from Kiss was in it.
Gene Simmons?
Yeah, Gene Simmons was in it.
Yep.
And
What
they
the
had
Christy
the
Alley, Tom Selleck.
they had the homing bullets that would go around corners and shit.
That was a good movie.
What was the name of it?
Runaway.
And it had that
Runaway.
really hot actress in it. She was like a model.
It was
that
a
became
it was
an
a Michael
actress.
Crichton book.
Yeah.
I don't think I
she
saw that
was,
one.
She was smoking.
Cynthia Rhodes.
Oh, she was.
There
good
you
looking.
go, Marty. Cynthia Rhodes.
Thank you very much. That's quick.
Oh, I've
research.
seen that. Yeah, I've seen that.
Your
Oh,
internet
I know
must be
you've seen
faster
it,
than
Eric.
Eric's.
Yeah, it just took me a while,
Yeah.
man. Very cool.
Eric
Uh,
might have abused himself to Cynthia Rhodes.
You just never can tell.
I just called it leg day.
You know what?
Well-
I'm in my basement. I'm entitled to do what I want to do.
You can leg day it up all you want.
That's
He
right.
had that-
baby.
He was
That's
propped
right.
up against his wall with his legs in a 90-degree angle as he was watching the movie, so he was getting
Look out.
double workout.
Send me
Inverted
something
like the
sexy.
Japanese space thing.
You send me something
Inverted.
sexy, baby. I'm all over it, man. Come on.
I'm just kidding.
All right, the probe solar panels faced westward due to the displacement and could not immediately generate power. Jackson manually unplugged Slim's dying battery. But an update on January 29th, the Slim spacecraft has regained power. Its space agency said
Oh.
on Monday, more than a week after it achieved an unconventionally precise lunar landing. They thought the solar panels were at the wrong angle, but the probe, the sunlight changed direction. And so it was hitting the solar panels even though they were laying on the ground. So it got power back, and now they're back conducting experiments. So,
Unconventionally precise.
yeah, they said it was unconventionally precise, even though it tumbled over.
Yeah,
It
what the
landed
fuck
What was
within-
that? What was that SpaceX explosion called? Like
Rapid,
Oh.
deconstructive?
Yeah,
Like,
something like that. God, we should remember that
unscheduled
phrase.
rapid deconstruction.
There you go. Yeah, that's it. They did say this thing touched down approximately 10 meters from where they wanted it to. Even though it was on its head, it still came down precisely.
Hey, that's
No,
cool.
the real story here is it was very windy in the sound studio that they used because they used the same sound studio that NASA used to
Right.
fake the moon landing back.
That's right.
And you remember how the flag was allegedly waving from the wind? That's what really happened.
Mhm.
That's right.
That's
I
a good
saw
point.
I saw Capricorn 1. Did you ever see that old movie, Eric? Capricorn 1?
I did.
Where they faked it and the astronauts rebelled and then they had to hunt them down?
You guys are actually showing how old you are. Wow.
I
I've
saw
never
it as
seen
a
that.
kid.
Don't you worry.
I didn't take my date to it. I saw it as a kid.
Yeah. I got the second base during Capricorn 1.
Star
So
Wars.
I don't know how Japan is set up, but if that was here in the United States and the satellite suddenly got power back and they started doing an experiment, you know the contractors would be going out of their mind because they're like, bonuses are back on the table, baby. Right?
It's
I don't know.
working.
I don't know if Japan is set up that way, but you know, whenever something goes wrong up there, that's where you just see the contractors just going nuts and it's like, we got to save this thing. We got to save this thing. Really? Why do you got to save this thing? I got a pool coming. If
Dollars.
Yeah, exactly. Cool.
I got a swimming pool.
That's right. God damn it.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
So all's well that ends well. Good job, Japan.
Yeah.
All right,
Send
our
me a
next
pair of them
story.
freaking little wheelie
Yeah, I
roller-
know. They should
Yeah, I wanna
market
see
those things.
Those things are cool.
I wonder what their battery life is, but you know, I don't know, they're pretty
Well, these days
badass.
you can have them, charge themselves back up. I mean, they got robot vacuums
Yeah.
that now go in and charge themselves up. They'll dump
Oh,
the
they'll go
vacuum
back
cleaning
to
up.
like their base. right?
Yeah.
And then plug in. That'd be cool.
Yeah,
You
that'd
just
be
have
nice.
those, set them up outside your house, and then you have like 4 or 5 of them just constantly patrolling
Charging.
around your home.
Charging stations located in strategic places.
See, I think
Yeah.
that's going to have to be integral to some of these like preppers. You know, preppers can't just be like, well, I'm growing my own food and I make my own ammunition. You got to have your own tech too. You know, to go out and patrol and all this kind of shit. You need some countermeasures out there.
Well, that's why you have ham radio operators. They build their own antennas and all
Yeah,
sorts of
that's
shit.
true. Yeah, that's true.
That's true. Hey, Vern, Capricorn 1 released in 1977. So
Yeah.
you and I both not born yet.
Yeah, I was
Oh
only in
goodness!
comparison by then.
Mhm.
I
All right,
actually
fair enough. Fair enough.
starred in the movie.
Yeah,
Jesus.
exactly.
I starred in the movie.
Nice.
Our next story is from space.com. It's a couple weeks old, but I thought it was pretty cool. So it's got a video, so I don't have to do a lot of talking.
Priorities.
But NASA reveals their new X-59 quiet supersonic jet. On Friday, January 12th, NASA and Lockheed Martin revealed the X-59 Quest with an extra S in there. A radical new supersonic jet designed to break the sound barrier without creating a thunderous sonic boom. The X-59 Quiet Supersonic Technology. Oh, that's what it stands for. Quest. Quiet Supersonic Technology.
That came right out of the X-Men mansion. The blue guy, the Beast, he created this thing.
Yeah, kind of.
Oh, yeah.
No, that was the SR-71 they stole for that. So,
Come on. But we upgraded. It's a quiet.
yeah, this jet has been under construction at Lockheed Martin's Skunk Works facility in Palmdale, California. On a side, isn't that the coolest named place ever?
The Skunk Works?
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah,
good.
man. I mean,
Wait,
how...
but I always think of there is a porta potty smelling thing that has Skunk Works and has a skunk on it. Every time I see it, though, I think of that kind of
They put
correlation.
that skunk on everything they make.
I
I
know,
don't know
and
if
that
it's the same
skunk is
skunk.
literally. But I'm like, this is the best idea ever because everybody's like, Skunk Works, don't they just make porta potties or bathroom
Right.
like urinal cakes? You're like,
It's like,
No.
And-
go ahead and pick that.
X57s or whatever they are,
59s. Yeah.
59s.
It's been in the works since 2019. It's designed to fly at supersonic speeds and reduce the typical sound of sonic booms lowering the volume down to a thump, similar to a car door slamming. NASA says the aircraft could help reshape regulations that currently prohibit supersonic flight over populated areas due to disruptions that sonic booms can cause. Now, is that one of the reasons that the Concorde was kind of put out of business?
I think that is one of the things.
The boom?
It was like a lot to maintain, and it
Right.
it would boom
And they
it all
had
the
one
time.
that what really killed it was one crash.
Oh, really? Really?
That'll
I
do
didn't
it.
know
I
that.
loved the idea of the nose, like it landing like this and then flattening out.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was
Well, the nose
brilliant.
altered, right?
Yeah,
I
that's
mean,
what I'm saying. The cockpit
yeah.
and the nose,
Yeah.
they would land like this, and then it would flatten out, and
Hmm.
it was a cool plane.
I think we call Colonel Captain Maverick and see what top
Oh,
speed this thing goes.
Colonel Cap.
Quietly,
That's
top
Captain
speed, quietly.
Captain Maverick,
Navy captain.
Navy Captain.
There,
Oh.
there you go.
I must say, it's got a sleek ass design.
It's got a nose on it too. Now they have some. I don't know who this lady is who comes out and speaks for it, but they have a. I think obviously she was a test pilot because she says it. But
Jeez.
when she first is like,
That's the
behold,
front end profile.
yeah,
Yeah.
isn't that nuts?
Good night.
But listen to her when she's like, behold. She sounds like a guy,
Behold.
like the guy from Green Acres. Behold.
She's so nervous.
I'm sorry, you can keep looking at it, but I got a few more things to say. Behold, our stunning X-59.
Christ.
Behold.
Behold!
Behold the
Yeah,
Skunkworks
lady.
marketing director.
I know. I just made fun of probably a very decorated test
Oh.
pilot, but
High-ranking person.
What a unique aircraft, and it's just incredible to see the ingenuity that went into it. As a test pilot, the first time I
That
looked at the
thing is
design, I went,
crazy.
huh. Really had some questions about that. Lots of great time with the scientists and engineers at NASA, Lockheed Martin Skunk Works, and all our other industry partners. And I was ready to go. In fact, I'm ready to climb in, but I won't do that, Nils, I promise. I think it's really also important to take a moment and talk
Not the only
about
thing holding her back.
the challenges of sonic booms accompanying supersonic flight. We talked a little bit about it, but this specialized aircraft is tackling it by engineering a specialized aircraft shape. What's most obvious right away is the long, distinct nose, which comprise almost a third of that 99.7-foot length.
of the plane.
So this
Damn.
design is really critical in dispersing shock waves, which today shocks are formed around the aircraft and then they merge together.
So what do you
to
guys
make
think they're
that
going to
boom.
actually call this thing? They're
By
not going to call it the
designing it to
Quest because that
disperse
name's
those,
lame.
They never
duck
merge
face.
together.
Quest will be the
And that's
unclassified.
how they solved this
Ducky
problem,
McDuckface.
which is really incredible.
Yeah, Ducky
And then to
McDuckface.
further enhance its quiet supersonic capabilities, you can see that cockpit is positioned almost halfway down the length of the aircraft.
Platypus.
And
Yes,
as
yeah.
has already been brought
Oh,
out,
yeah.
the forward-facing window
rabid
was getting in the
platypus.
way
Now,
of
this is the
keeping
interesting
aircraft
part.
Quiet. And so that's why it has
Huh.
no forward-facing window. It was a deliberate engineering decision from the X-59 team to make this aircraft quieter. But what's really interesting about that is we made that decision to make it quieter, but it's actually an important step forward in and of itself in advancing aviation technology while prioritizing the comfort of those on the ground. And huge challenge, right? Limited visibility in the cockpit. The team developed the external vision system, which is really a marvel
External
of
vision
high-resolution
Yeah,
cameras
it's called a fucking camera.
feeding an ultra-high-resolution monitor. Immediate applications for the X-59, the external vision system has the potential to influence future aircraft designs where the absence of that forward-facing window may prove advantageous for engineering reasons, as it did for us. So it's creating capabilities we haven't felt comfortable about putting in a crewed flight
I
vehicle.
wonder if they're using
without first
the
testing.
helmet from the
So this
F-35 that
groundbreaking
you're supposed to be
technology
able
is
to
really
look
a
through the
beacon guiding
plane.
us towards a future where
You remember what
visibility
I'm talking about?
barriers in aircraft design
Yeah.
can be overcome.
I don't know if
with
they
this
ever
inventive
actually
solution.
made the technology work, but the pilot was supposed to be able to look like down through his legs, and the cameras on the outside of the aircraft would then show him. It was like being in VR effectively. And but he
That's
would be able
cool.
to look down below him, and the cameras underneath the plane would show him through his headset what he was looking at.
You're able to assess some situations that you wouldn't be able to see. That's
Well, especially with an
that's pretty
F-35 where it can hover, right? Yeah,
Well,
you
certain
would like to
models,
see the below you. I mean,
Yeah.
that would be,
Yeah.
and it seems like that technology. I don't know. It seems like we should have had that by now. Maybe that's silly.
I mean,
to assume.
I got the technology to see behind me when I back up in my car, and it's a
Right.
CRV.
That's a great
So-
point. And all our UAVs have had it, right?
Yeah, but
Yeah.
you don't have a camera that allows you to look into the engine and assess is there damage or what's not functioning.
No, but I got a lot of lights and shit, a lot of blinky stuff.
Okay, fair enough.
Pretty much the same thing.
I,
It only costs $40K.
well, and I saw a car, and I can't remember which one it is now, but it's advertising how you have cameras on the side and stuff.
Mhm.
I don't know which one
Yeah.
that is. Maybe it's
Tesla
all,
does it.
Maybe it's all high end. Maybe it's Tesla.
Tesla's all around. You can see.
I was like,
all
yeah, why
around.
haven't they offered that? I mean, that would have been nice,
Yeah.
but I don't know if I want to pay an extra 20 grand just for a bunch of cameras.
But as a pilot who's flown regular fixed wing aircraft looking forward, you gotta think that's got to be a big adjustment. Not being able to
Yeah,
see
but
the
sure,
front.
sure, yeah, right.
I honestly
But
believe
if
that
you're
would be a
looking
big
at a
adjustment.
screen, if you're looking at a decent sized screen or in your like VR style, I mean, it
I
wouldn't
would
be
just
that
say-
difficult to adjust. It would be
I think it's an adjustment.
definitely faith. Yeah.
Well, I would
sure.
also imagine they have some pretty thorough simulators for this thing, so you can
Yeah.
fly it 1,000 times on the ground before you actually ever get into it.
Well, I think
It looks crazy as hell, though.
Yeah, right.
Man, it looks cool.
But look at how I think the helicopter pilots have been doing that, not through
Yeah.
cameras, but they fly a lot through NVGs and all that kind of stuff.
Oh,
So
yeah.
they got to kind of learn.
Well, and the Apache's got the reticle in the eye that allows
Yeah,
to do
right,
some
right,
other
right, right.
stuff. And
So I don't know. It just seems like technology. I kind of thought we had it already, but maybe not at those speeds. I guess. I
Yeah.
suppose. Right.
I'm sure it wreaks havoc on the aircraft doing that fast.
So kind of cool.
Was-
That's why I thought it was.
Was
pretty
it that big of a deal, like to the civilian population, to hear those sonic booms?
They never fly
Like, we're-
supersonic over the U.S., right? Isn't there a restriction against that over at least
Yeah, generally speaking.
so
Yeah,
it
built
must-
up areas? Yeah,
It
city
must
areas.
be a fairly big deal then. I guess.
well, it can break out windows, set off car alarms. Like there's a lot of stuff.
I
that
don't
can
know.
come-
I've never been at my
Make the
house
elderly
and
shit
go,
their
oh, somebody
pants."
just broke the sound barrier, right? I've never heard that.
I kind of remember it vaguely when I was a kid, but I haven't
I don't know.
heard it for
Yeah, I haven't heard it.
Well,
either.
I mean, anytime you guys have fired a weapon that's gone, that had a bullet that would go supersonic, which is most guns, you'll
Yeah.
hear the crack of the sonic boom with it.
Yeah.
right.
I mean,
but
it's not the plain sonic boom, but it's still a sonic boom, and it's loud as fuck.
Well,
yeah, and I imagine
yeah,
the
I
size
suppose.
difference would make it significantly.
But I don't know. It sounds
louder.
like a cover, or it sounds like something they briefed
Oh,
the
that's a
money guys.
given.
It's like this will be much quieter, and they're like, "Oh, we need that over America. Here's $1 billion. Go make it."
Make it happen.
And they're like, "Hey, they bought that story. That was so
I
dumb.
think
We don't even break the sound barrier over here."
Guys, watch this.
Guys,
Right.
how much do you need?
Uh,
$1 billion? Deal.
sounds
shit, they
good.
bought
Make
it.
that happen.
We got it.
$1 billion?
Holy
You guys
shit.
believe that?
Now we got to make this thing. Damn it.
First of all, espresso machine in every break room. Priority. We don't even know how to use them. It's irrelevant.
And it
Make it
doesn't-
happen.
Get
It
it.
doesn't matter. You'll figure it
Yep.
out.
Yep.
All right, let's move on to something that potentially has some conversation about it. Anyway, I listened to I was listening to Tucker Carlson Encounter. That's his new show, right?
Oh,
And he had Dr. Willie Soon, an astrophysicist, on there. They were talking about fossil fuels and climate change, and Dr. Soon, who is an astrophysicist, was using space to counter a couple of these put forth arguments about fossil fuels and climate change. So I
Based
thought
on
it was
carbon.
interesting. I thought it was interesting because he was using space. So this being a space variety show, I thought we could have some fun with this. So just want to get your reaction to just a couple of clips. They talked for an hour or so, and I just have a couple little.
we're getting canceled before we start.
We could.
You know what's really hard with Dr. Soon is he's damn hard to understand. Number one, when he talks,
That's almost racist there, Eric.
I didn't call him
Next.
black and in the Navy.
No, but
Valid.
you're talking about the way he talks because he's Malaysian.
I will call what I want to call if and
To
so
be
it's
fair,
that.
the Welsh are very white and European, and I can't understand a fucking word any of them
Not
says.
a thing.
Not a
I
damn
rest
word.
my
That's the
case.
weirdest thing.
No,
You're right.
They sound, even if the kid's 5 years old, they sound like 3 sheets to the wind to me.
Yeah.
I'm like, you are sauced up, child. Get away from me.
All right, so I did this. I put some background in there, so hopefully we won't have any copyright strikes. I can't
Here.
imagine anybody would look to our show to go, "Oh, hey, they got too big of an audience.
Oh,
They got to knock them
Yeah.
down."
I don't think that's a
I
problem.
look forward to it.
This first part, they're talking about fossil fuels. So
Just to the strict question of where hydrocarbons come from, it sounds like they're not necessarily all from ancient forests or plankton or dinosaurs, are they?
Yes, the story can be a bit long, so give me a few minutes to
Yes.
explain. You are certainly right, but most important to clarify is that the information that is found on the largest moon on Saturn, which is called Titan,
Yes.
is actually
You're a horrible man,
results
Eric.
from NASA, European Space Agency,
Yes.
and then the
Marty,
Italian
stop
Space
the
Agency,
stop the video for just
who
a moment.
built this.
Mr. Soon, you ever been to Saturn?
Oh, here we go.
All that
Just
sass.
because you haven't been there doesn't mean you don't know about it.
Come on, man. That's Green Beret John Wayne.
You
You ever been to Southeast Asia, Mr. Beckworth?
that was
Oh.
a reach.
Remember? Come
That was
on,
a
man.
hard
No,
reach, man.
I don't
Hard
remember.
reach.
That John Wayne asked the reporter, "You ever been to Southeast Asia?" And then he goes, "Mm-hmm." That's what I'm saying about Soon. You ever been
All
to
right,
Saturn?
all right.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Eric, the flat earther over here. So
Jeez.
spacecraft called Cassini and Huygens. Actually, one of my thesis advisor committee is actually built the UV spectrometer, but the one that they used to discover this, basically the ocean liquid form of methane, which is in ethane form, which is much more complicated hydrocarbon, is whole ocean of it, because Titan is in such a way that it's very cold, by the way, so it's minus 290 degree Fahrenheit.
Yes.
Hint, hint, hint. Where's the global warming there, right? If it's full of methane there, right? That's another problem because it's far away from the sun. That's what it
Hint,
is.
hint,
Yes.
And clearly that the question of abiogenic method, which means no need of any biology, is true.
Wait, Marty, wait. It is like so fucking far from the sun that the fact that it's all methane doesn't really, it probably doesn't play a big part because it's so ridiculously far away. And I don't understand that.
okay, all right.
And I don't know. I mean, I'm just a guy in the closet. So
I think he's going off of the assumption that CO2 carbon is warming our atmosphere.
oh yeah.
That's what he's
but-
disputing. Right, right.
But even if the whole atmosphere was made of methane and it being 20, 30, 40 times, 100 times farther away from the sun, that would probably have a bigger effect than the entirely methane atmosphere. wouldn't it?
I'm with you. I think he's trying to dispute the whole carbon is making our
I like it though.
atmosphere heat.
I mean, all right, good call.
Eric thinks it's all bunk, so that's where we're going with this. So But anyway,
I'll
this
go
first part's
50-50.
about fossil fuels and how
Yeah.
he's talking about, he'll get to that fossil fuels is kind of a misnomer. It's not just from fossilized plants and animals, and we get oil.
Okay.
So,
Because we know, actually, one experiment was done in 2009. It was done in Swedish Royal Academy, one of those group, but it's done by one Russian leader. He was able to show that if you squeeze methane, CH4 in chemical formula, so 4 hydrogen, 1 carbon,
I
squeeze them
squeezed some methane a little
in a
while
form
ago.
that in which that simulate the condition of the Earth mantle, which is 1,800 miles deep, kind of below the surface, because the Earth is deeper, right? And it's within this 18, but basically the condition that is only about 40 to 150 miles in, that you actually can form complex hydrocarbon. You got benzene, you got ethane, you got all this other stuff forming. So that proved beyond doubt that you have such a way to make this. Plus that Titan proved beyond doubt. You actually see methane also in all the atmosphere of Jupiter. You know, you even find benzene in the rocks of Mars. And then for me, astrophysicist, I can tell you even more. You find this complex hydrocarbon called polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbon. It's another one of those complex hydrocarbon that actually you found it in interstellar space, within stars, intergalactic space. These are everywhere because temperature there are cold and probably the right pressure condition. All this complex hydrocarbons.
Well, it's kind of incredible because all of us, and including myself until very recently,
right,
assumed that all of our main energy sources are these so-called fossil fuels, and of course their existence is going to be limited by the amount of fossils, by the amount of decaying organic material.
Not so.
So if that's not so, then we need to rethink a lot of things.
A lot.
So if we pressurized methane, basically, right? If those are methane deposits and they're pressurized by the surface of the Earth, if we could physically pressurize methane or other
any of those other
benzene or what,
right.
If we pressurized them enough,
we could make our own.
We could make our own fuels,
right? Isn't that where you're going? Because that's where I was going too.
That's what it sounds like he's saying.
Yeah. Or I don't know. I guess so, because I thought that too. And I guess I don't know if he's trying to dispute that oil comes from dinosaurs. You know? Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess we've been told that, but fuck, I don't know. Right?
Well, that's just because we think it's carbon.
Well, because the public,
carbon,
because the public wants education like the cartoon in Jurassic Park. And he's like, and you got a dinosaur. It's like, oh, okay, I understand that.
Do that one more time.
This guy really needs to animate his shit. He'd get a lot farther.
He got dinosaur DNA.
Well, you heard scientist Tucker. Yes. That was his only answer. Yes.
Well, scientist Tucker.
Because he's not a scientist. He's just
following along.
That's my own fucking point. Can he say
what is your whole point? Because what is your whole point?
I don't know.
Explain your point.
Eric.
My point is, I think Dr. Soon is lost
because of all the methane, benzene talk that he was you know nothing about.
Obviously, I don't think he knows much
because
about
I don't
it
know anything.
I don't know anything about it either.
I don't think he knows much about it either.
He was at Harvard. He was at
every
Harvard.
Every argument that I read about Dr. Soon was a better argument produced by either Greenpeace or other scientists that said he's just a denier on the global warming.
Did they debunk his claims, or did they just call him a denier?
No, I think in a number of cases they actually
did. They say, "Hey, his formula stuff that he's talking about is not true because of X, Y, Z."
He doesn't have any formulas.
"Oh,
did you hear him say, "Oh, it's everywhere"? He doesn't.
Yeah, I heard him talking about the. I heard him talk about the chemicals and the pressure.
I mean, I couldn't understand a damn word he was saying.
What? Are you serious?
He's not publicized a paper since 2013.
What does that? What does that mean?
When he brought up methane.
If he had any freaking sense to this, or if he had any grounds for it to be true, why wouldn't the rest of the world be on board going, yeah, Soon's a genius?
Well,
you got everybody else is debunking it.
you have a bunch of people debunking him, but that doesn't mean that there aren't other people who are supporting him.
Yeah,
Four
And
that I
especially,
found.
especially with money
Four.
buying
And all the
science
money
now.
that supported him were from fuel-based companies, fossil fuel companies, gas and oil. That's where his papers were written by.
So
those
then he's
funding companies.
automatically discredited because of that?
You're
I'm just
missing my
asking. I'm
point.
just asking.
I don't have all the answers here. I just don't think I buy
I
what he's
mean,
selling.
All right.
it
fair enough.
does
Fair enough.
call into account his
Sure. Yeah,
his
who's
loyalty,
funding him
right?
and all that
I
kind
mean,
of stuff. Yeah, yeah.
much like doctors that were funded with cigarette companies,
Yeah, good point.
right? And they're
Much
like,
like-
"Toke it
much
up,
like-
ladies. It's good for the baby."
Much
All
like
right.
doctors who were funded by Pfizer.
Well,
Right.
exactly. No, exactly.
So, and it's
I mean,
hard
the-
for us to discern what is the steps that he's talking about, and
Sure.
are people disputing his steps, formulas, whatever. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, to take it down to a dumb level like I am, you
or
can go,
we need, yeah.
hey, the Earth is
Yeah.
flat, and they're like, no, it's not, and they're like, well, a bunch of people support me saying the Earth is flat, and I was like, well, no, it's
Well,
not.
I wouldn't say other people. I would say same educated people as he is that dispute what he says.
It's tough because
Like
I
the
mean the
Surgeon General
the
of
guy
the
was a
United
Harvard
States.
guy, right? He was a Harvard tenured professor or whatever. He left Harvard. I mean, it's hard to say that these guys don't know what they're talking about. They do, but it is difficult to pinpoint their motivation. And when you're saying, like you said, Eric, that if what you say is true and it's all oil companies supporting him, which it behooves oil companies to support him.
Oh yeah.
Because this administration has a war on energy, right?
Oh,
and
for sure.
Our president has said, I'm going to shut, even President Obama said, I'm going to shut you down, right? And we've seen what that's done to prices. So if
I guess the bottom line for me is every argument that he's come out with saying that it's carbon-based, methane, it's everywhere, we have an unlimited supply. There's an argument from another, just a smart PhD that says
sure,
he's
right,
wrong.
right, yeah. And
That's
then we
all.
got to, I mean, who do we back, right?
Right.
Or
Who do you believe?
does it even matter if we back it, right? It doesn't really matter.
We've got no skin in this game.
Because
Big
we could go,
picture.
yes, he's right. What are you going to do, government? And they're like, we're going to do the same thing we're always doing.
Well, just remember the face of climate change is Greta Thunberg, a high
Yeah,
school
that's-
dropout
yeah,
that doesn't
good
know
point.
shit, and
Yeah,
they push
that's a
her
good
forward day in and day out. Climate change is all a communist grift to get money out of poor people.
Well, it is. There are.
I
two
really
sides
wish
to
they
it,
would
right?
just go with pollution. If
Yeah,
they
that's what I'm saying.
stop
Let's clean up
this,
the
Yeah,
oceans
remember
first.
the whole.
we can prove that
Right.
pollution, right? We can prove that some of our
That's part.
pollution is causing
Dude, I
significant
remember
amounts of damage,
I remember
right?
in
Ozone
the
layer,
80s.
Australia, right? All that stuff.
Eric remembers it too.
Yeah.
In the 80s, when remember there was it's like stop using hairspray. It's
Oh, for
destroying
sure.
the ozone. Everything's
Yeah.
destroying the ozone. Then all of a
Yep.
sudden, those arguments just went away, and you're like,
Yeah.
"What happened?" And they're like, "Oh, the ozone's fine. It just it repaired itself."
Hey, do you guys
Turns
still
out it
touch,
shifts.
the plastic on your six packs? You know, like when beer.
Oh
Coke-
yeah. You couldn't
I
do
still cut 'em for the
the
Dolphins.
ring
I
things.
do.
Yeah, you had to cut those. That's
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
So the dolphins or whatever it was.
Yep.
Well, let's go on to his next one. And this next one, he's talking about his theory on climate change, and it's space based, right? That's why.
Before you play
Oh,
that,
okay.
Yeah.
I just want to read from 2005 to 2015. Soon had received over 1.2 million from the fossil fuel industry, while failing to disclose the conflict of interest in most of his work. I just that's not change. That's a huge
Okay.
amount of money.
Oh,
No,
fair.
that's
I mean,
valid.
it brings in the doubt, sure, but it's just
Yeah.
it was interesting because I never knew that, or I never have heard anything counter to oils from dinosaurs.
Yeah.
Right.
And Marty, I will say this. I would love to say maybe it's somewhere in the middle. Maybe this guy does have a clue.
You know, I
You know what I
think
mean?
I think Eric, most things are in the middle, somewhere in the middle, you know. but
would
they
like to think he's
but
got
they
something going
want to
on.
shift the public one way or another because there's money involved.
Sure.
So
Money,
where'd
it
Jake
makes
go?
the world go round.
No, Jake must be getting a refill. Anyway, let's hear his bit on climate or global warming as it applies to planetary stuff. All right. Open.
Here's what I don't understand. Global temperatures have dramatically fluctuated within
Yes.
the period that humans left records. I mean,
Right.
not that long ago. I mean,
Yes.
there are cities underwater because sea levels have risen within
Yes.
recorded history.
Mm-hmm.
The signs of the glaciers are all around us.
Yes.
So that was all before the internal combustion engine. How do they explain that?
This is the problem. They admitted. A lot of them admitted. They willingly admitted. You can read all.
Well, you
the
can't
literature.
deny it. I mean, we had glaciers and then they
are
melted
forced-
because
they
of
are
global
forced to
warming.
confess. I mean, these are the confession time. It's the sun actually that does a lot of this. The glacier, like there's a period called Little Ice Age.
Yeah.
You know, from about 1300 to 1900, where very cold. And then there's a medieval warm period from 880 to about 1200. It was warm. I mean, you can grow wine in England, right?
It
Now
was
you
warm.
cannot grow wine, right? Things like that. I mean, Greenland was green
Hey,
back
pause it real
then,
quick on
but
that
now
point.
it's full of glaciers. Ice.
You don't grow wine, you grow grapes. Then you ferment wine. You fucking
He's a
dumb
kook.
scientist. This guy's a dipshit.
Yes, he is.
Oh,
does he
my
know?
goodness.
Is coming in. So what are you talking about exactly? And it was the sun actually. The sun fit quite well, as far as we know, in terms of deducing the information of how does the sun, how bright was it, how dim was it, basically just like that, just the amount of light coming out from the sun. Very tiny percentage, by the way, very small. It's on the order of less than 1%, but it's more than enough because there's another effect that is very, very important. It's basically because the sun, the Earth is forced to go around the sun. And then the orbit change ever so slightly because of perturbation from all the other planets.
Perturbations.
Jupiter, Saturn.
Which is my absolute favorite word
Perturbations.
out of what was it? EUST, right? That was my favorite word was perturbations.
Mhm.
And even Venus and Mars, they are actually controlling what we do. And the moon, of course, is very important. But that other factors, the orbits, plus the changes of the sun by itself, between how bright,
You tell him,
how
Turkish
dim it
football
is.
player.
these two factors can explain just about everything that we know. All the data that I have, actually. So I've been this is why I was so fascinated in studying this issue. I spent my whole life actually studying this. Nothing but doing just this. And the more I understand, the more I think that, wow, it's just a gap to be filled in. We have too much information and then these people come along, say that CO2 is causing everything. I check. Oh, maybe they're right. I check. As a scientist, I have to check them. But then it's not even close. I mean, these people are talking about things that is, I mean, there's a famous phrase by a very famous,
I don't get his famous phrase, so I'm not going to play that part. But he does have a part where he's talking about CO2 being like the gas of life, which is true if you think about it. I mean, if
Plants crave it.
it's one of those things that they've always said CO2 is going to destroy the planet, but they're like, yeah, but every plant on the earth uses CO2.
Right.
Wouldn't that be better? So
It's got what plants need.
I know, right. So Eric he's dismissed Dr. Soon.
I don't know. He lost
I
me
mean,
on the
No,
growing wine
don't
bullshit.
lock it up, Doc. Yeah, I mean that's cool. I mean, I'm not saying I'm in favor or not. I thought it was an
It
interesting
is
perspective.
contrary to everything we've been told for years and years and years and years.
Yeah, but you
right?
know everything we've been told.
But
is-
that's valid,
I mean,
right? I mean,
I don't believe
historically
everything we've been
speaking,
Right.
historically speaking, we've been told a lot of really wrong shit.
told. Really
I'll give you that.
wrong.
And
Almost
And
everything. we've been
even
told.
way back in the day, there were people saying, "Hey, the sun is the center of the solar system."
They
They're like,
put-
"Fucking burn that witch."
They put
Don't you
Galileo in prison for that shit.
Yep,
Yeah.
exactly.
And
Hey, but I got charts and I got things. Fuck that.
right,
Burn him and that dirty whore that gave him syphilis. Like all of them,
listen to us,
right?
Again, my whole
Cigarettes,
point.
cigarettes
But
are
it's people
okay.
in control. Yeah,
The
it's people in
food
control.
pyramid is what you should follow, right? You
Mhm.
can get AIDS from a bathroom sink. You know,
Here's my point. What does the rest of the world get from arguing against what he's saying?
Controlling your resources.
I think
if
I
it's
think-
unlimited, like he just said, it's unlimited. There's nothing
That's
to
exactly
control.
it.
Yeah,
Because
but
he
that-
hasn't pushed that technology. He basically hasn't invented nuclear technology yet. If you can compress all these freaking things down to the pressure that he says, and it would create unlimited fuel, who's losing money in that?
Yeah.
All right, now I'm going to question your education, Mr. Jake Wall.
I'm just saying.
Oh,
Yeah. It's Oregon Public School, man.
Right.
Let's go.
Jake's
I
not pretending
just
to be
think-
something he's not.
There would be enough support for Dr. Soon's theories if they were accurate.
But here's the thing, Eric. Just a small example of this. Fuel injected cars had been around. That technology had been around since the 40s and 50s. That technology wasn't
Fuel
released to the
injection is
public.
what you're talking about, right?
Fuel injection
Okay.
and the ability to do fuel injected cars had been around since the 50s and probably before that. All those patents were bought up by oil companies. That's what stifled fuel injection, and that is not bullshit. That's not
Really? I
anything
didn't know
ridiculous. Yeah, and
So you're saying
The
what,
only
they're,
reason-
what they're telling us is not, you don't agree with what they're preaching to you.
I'm saying I'm skeptical because there's always somebody making a lot of money off something.
yeah.
And if you
I'll give you that.
try to, right, if you tell me I'm wrong, okay, maybe I can think about it logically and change my mind. But if you tell me I'm wrong and I'm unemployed, that's a big fucking difference. I'm going to dig in my damn heels at that, right? If I just say you lost your livelihood and you're fucking wrong because of this decision, because of your inability to accept that the earth is not the center of the universe. I mean,
Well,
people are losing livelihoods over that.
Here's what I will say about Dr. Soon and about everything else. Why don't we entertain all opinions?
Yeah.
Why
I
do
bet-
they have to shut down one side? Science isn't shut down. Science is never a
Just prove him
consensus.
wrong.
Yeah, prove him wrong.
I think
Don't
he
say
has
he's
been
a
proven
kook.
wrong. I think he has been proven wrong.
I don't
Oh,
think.
okay.
Okay. Well then, but why not explore all the possibilities, right? Why not explore all the possibilities of what could heal you during COVID? Why say,
I'm not saying
don't use ivermectin? All the doctors say ivermectin is bullshit because
I'm
there was
not
a bunch.
saying
But
that I'm
but
not-
wait. There was a bunch of doctors who said don't use ivermectin, and there were other doctors who go, yeah, ivermectin's fine. Why don't we go try anything that works? What the fuck?
I'm on board. But nobody has come out and said, hey, Dr. Soon's really got a fucking clue.
Well, who said he doesn't?
Who said he does? Him.
No.
And three other
You're
guys.
saying
Eric.
you're saying
Eric
a bunch
says he doesn't.
have put him down, but who said he doesn't?
I'm
What
just
respected
saying-
guy has said he's a kook?
So
Well,
Eric does have a
It will
point.
require a lot of
the
research,
funding.
but I'm sure I can find it for you.
But if its funding's
That's
coming
what you're
from coming from gas companies, and wouldn't unlimited fuel go against their interests?
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. Yeah, because then they wouldn't. Yeah, why would they want to
But-
promote that?
unlimited fuel.
It's the long-lasting
not
light
really
bulb
the-
theory,
it's-
right?
It's not the unlimited fuel aspect that goes against. Yes, that goes against their interest, but it's also
not a limit.
the
it's
current
limited
use
as you think.
goes against their interest,
Right.
right?
You know,
But
It's
I
all-
think
it-
honestly, Eric, you're right in that his funding lines, that's suspect.
our suspect. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, no, that-
Everybody's funding line is suspect.
Right?
Right.
well, yeah, you got to get money from somewhere,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Because everybody's going to get paid, and whoever's paying them wants you to take that point of view.
Right.
Nobody's paying for a counterpoint of view.
Yeah, I mean,
Like the
everything
people
I'm looking
causing
at
or
online,
solving the housing problem.
there's nothing that really supports the guy.
Well, but
No.
let's do it just us.
Maybe.
Well,
Just
unless you
let's-
call Tucker Carlson, he'll support him.
Well, let's do it just us. How much do you believe in global warming, I guess, right? Because it wasn't always global warming. It was something cooling before, and that got disproven. Then they changed it to global warming. Now it's not global warming. Now it's climate change. That's the third iteration of this thing. Third iteration. Al Gore said we'd be underwater in 12 years. That was 10 years ago. You know what I mean? So it's like, why are they pushing that? Why are they pushing that? What's
$1
to
bills.
be gained by that, right?
I'm sure. Yeah, I have no problem admitting that the climate's changing. That's yes, fully acknowledged.
Of course,
There's
it's
stuff
changing. That's
changing.
why they settled on
But-
that name, so they don't get
but-
locked down to warming or cooling. Right?
Yeah, I want to know the cause, and if they have a cause or an idea, then let's
I
push
get
actual
suspicious.
solutions.
I get suspicious at whatever cause they're pushing. If it requires me to pay something, then you go, oh, wait. I'm with you on your cause, but now I got to go put up 10 grand to put solar panels
Right.
on my house and pay for
Marty,
those for the next
at
30
a-
years.
Yeah, at a
Why
smaller.
does that come on me?
Eric, you know this too, right? I got pissed the other day because the LED bulb on my porch that is automatic sundown to sunup kind of thing went out again. Right? It lasted maybe 2 years. But Eric, you remember the bulbs before that? Those coiled fluorescent bulbs that you don't have to buy a fucking another light bulb for the rest of your damn
It's
life.
true. Those
The
things
lamp
last
will wear
forever.
out faster than the thing. Right?
Yeah.
That was what they said. Remember, we're swapping out bulbs every year. All the old freaking incandescent bulbs. That's shit.
Yeah.
You got to go to these bulbs.
Yeah. I
Oh,
remember.
those bulbs? They don't last. They were like 10-year bulbs. They'll last forever. You're
Yeah.
good. They did not last 10 years.
Yeah, same
And they're
with
fucking
fire.
shit tons of
Same with the
Yeah.
fire fucking annunciators.
smoke
Oh,
detectors.
the
Smoke
smoke
detectors.
alarm stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
And they're fucking shit tons of mercury in those coiled bulbs.
Yeah.
Right?
So
And now we got LED bulbs. So LED bulbs are good. But wait,
everything I find
literally-
on Willie Soon, for instance,
yeah.
Willie Soon revealed his fraud. No one's surprised.
Oh.
Wickersham.
No one's
You wrote that
Did it
Rachel
s-
Maddow on
Did it
MS.
say no one's surprised in the headline?
Yeah.
What?
No,
What's
fuck that.
who's
No
the
one-
headline?
I'm done.
No one's
Fuck.
surprised.
Who's the
Nope,
headline
fuck
from?
that.
Wickersham's conscience.
What?
CONS or conscience? Is that how you say it? Wickersham's
I don't know.
conscience.
Okay.
I don't.
all right,
I'm
all
not
right.
even familiar with it. It's a commentary,
shit.
reviews. So I'm just saying, there's more of that than there is. Oh, he
Yeah.
knows what he's talking about.
What?
What's the
But-
biggest publication that denounces him?
Well, I've only found this one. I haven't looked any further.
Yeah.
Why would
Either
you
way,
get
the
this
point
guy?
the point I was
I
making
thought
with
you
the
I
rant
thought you
about
had
the
found
light
like 20
bulbs-
results or something like
No.
that.
No, yeah. The rant about the light bulbs is they constantly saying this is forever, you won't have to replace it. You're good. This is the next thing,
Yeah.
you're good.
Yeah.
And yet
Eh.
they're fucking wrong every single time. And they're
Right.
not wrong within
Sure.
15 years.
Okay.
They're wrong within 4.
Well,
Yeah.
let's hope Dr. Soon is correct. and we have an
I hope
unlimited-
somebody's
Well, now, wait a
correct.
minute,
unlimited fuel supply.
Now,
And it's not
I'm
fossil
just
fuels.
saying there's a counter. I think he's presenting a counter argument that is not being entertained by the climate change believers.
Okay.
And I think that's what's surprising. Throw Dr. Soon out. I just thought it would generate conversation, which it has.
I
But
like it.
throw all that out. Why don't we have any real debate about it? Why are we just given, hey, we're causing man-made warming, and so now you got to go to wind farms and solar?
So you truly don't believe that debate hasn't taken place?
Where have you ever heard a debate of that?
That doesn't mean it didn't take place. I don't know. I'm just
It has
saying,
not taken place. I have never
wow,
seen
that's pretty
two
definite.
sides going, I have this position, and let's debate. I have never seen that, and I challenge you to, and if you've seen it, give it to me, because I would
have
love
not.
to see it.
I'm just
I think
surprised
they
that you don't
come
think it's
out.
taken. I'm sure there's
Well,
been a debate taken.
No, I think they come out with positions, and where are the counter positions? The counter positions get called kooks. There's no debate. I've never seen a debate on it.
Okay.
Well, you're being condescending to me, but have you ever seen a debate on it?
I'm not. No,
No,
I
he
said I haven't.
admitted he never
I
saw
said
it.
I haven't. I just said,
okay.
I can't imagine that one hasn't taken place. You're saying
yeah,
it's
but-
never, and I said I can't imagine that it hasn't.
We haven't debated shit in this country for years, man.
Well,
We
see,
haven't
there's-
debated anything for
There's
years.
there's an argument for me to go. I don't agree with you.
What was the last debate topic that you ever remember seeing?
I just saw the presidential debate.
That's not what I'm talking about.
Man.
Abortion, climate change, going to war, COVID. Have we seen two sides like point counterpoint like they used to have? Have we
Show-
They
seen
do it
two
all the
sides
time on
argue?
every
the same?
news channel.
And I haven't either. And I think that's the problem, is that people in this country, they jump, and as soon as they jump, if they're first, they go, this is the position, disprove me. Okay, let's have a debate. I won't debate a kook. And that's what happens. There's no debate. Was there any debate on ivermectin?
I don't know.
There wasn't.
The problem is that there is a bit of an open discussion initially, and then everything gets politicized.
Yeah.
And it's
right. And no,
I have a stronghold in this one point, and I'm good.
and
Right? Immigration is like that. Medical
yeah, we don't
knowledge
debate immigration.
is like that. But because
Right.
no one's gonna, if we fix immigration, it would cause
Yeah.
both sides to go, okay, you're right in these 4 points, and you're right in these 4 points, and we need to meet in the middle. It would
Right.
Marty-
it would
Right.
Marty, when you say
isolate
debate, what do
guaranteed
you-
voice.
Say that again, Mike.
When you say debate, what do you mean? Do you mean two people sitting in a room going back and forth?
Yes.
Because
Yeah.
every day, this stuff, everything gets debated on
Where?
mainstream news networks, Fox News, CNN. They
Oh,
always have.
but
point,
but
counterpoint.
that's not the old type of debates. That's just name calling.
So
right.
you want to see like the debate from like old school,
Yeah, they used to
where two
have
guys on a
those.
podium.
They used to have those debate shows, right? Point
Now-
counterpoint. They used to have
Yeah.
Hannity and Combs. You know, they were two. There was a conservative and a I don't want to say he was liberal, but maybe he was a liberal. But those two guys used to debate, and they were not name calling debates. They were like, "Hey, here's the facts on my side. Here's the
Yeah.
facts on this side."
I mean, you got guys like Joe Rogan that does that all the time. He'll bring on
Exactly.
one guy from one side, and then a couple episodes later, he's got another dude from the other side. And
Yep.
you have these discussions. They may not be debates, but there's definitely discussion. going
Okay.
on.
Well, then-
Vern's 100% right in that. He will, I was going to throw it out there. Joe Rogan will bring on somebody who doesn't even necessarily believe in the same things as him at all,
yeah.
and say, okay, let's do this. And he'll have his production assistant, Jamie, look up content right then and there. He's like, okay, here, bring in a freaking thumb drive and give me your 15 freaking slides or your freaking medical
Oh yeah.
journals or all that, and he'll bring it up and say, hey, this is what's going on. Most of the time
Okay.
it's medical. Sometimes it's like scientific, like historic Egypt, water erosion kind of stuff like that over the pyramids,
Oh.
where you know it if you listen to it, Marty, it says like they'll say, oh, the pyramids are this old, and then
Yeah.
one side will say, okay, based on literally how long it takes and the water erosion and all this kind of stuff in that area, they have to be significantly older than that. and
Oh,
then
okay.
the other side will say, nope, it's only this, the whole, that kind of thing. But Vern's
Yeah.
right. He does do a very good job about
Okay.
bringing in both
All right,
sides.
I'll have to go check that out then.
Well, and there's lots of podcasts out there. Like, for instance, a recent thing with Israel Palestine. You'll see two sides of that on various podcast type news shows, where they'll have one guy on to go against the other.
Hey,
Okay, I stand corrected. Thanks
speaking
for,
of that, Israel
pointing out
Palestine
that I don't
thing,
know. Because I guess I don't.
No.
I thought there would be more. I mean, Congress doesn't debate.
No,
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely not.
And that's where
This is the
we
most
need the
dysfunctional
debates,
Congress in history.
Well, and that goes with what Jake was saying as far as here's our 3 points, here's your 3 points. Now we both agree that those 3 points are relevant. Let's create a solution. That's what Congress's job's supposed to do.
Well,
They
sure.
don't do that.
But
Sure. I mean,
but that isolates a certain portion of their voting populace.
But I mean,
It,
he mentions later in that interview about nuclear. Why aren't we doing nuclear energy?
we're scared.
We don't even have a debate on nuclear energy.
Yeah.
I mean, France does it, Japan does it. They've solved their problems with that shit. But
California does it.
Well, did it?
So
They did it, and they were getting rid of it, and then Newsom got bribed by somebody, and then it's okay now.
Well,
it is
nuclear is
okay.
really the only clean energy we have. It's fucking
Yeah. But we won't, and one of the reasons
We
we,
still gotta
won't
figure
is
out some
because
parts of
there's profit in strangling the energy industry, right? Controlling the energy industry. There's profit in that. Now, whether that be by the big oil companies or by other people, climate people, whatever, there's money in that. How much did Obama give to the solar panel company that went out of business? Right?
Yeah.
Everybody remember? I can't even remember what the name of that damn solar company was, but he gave them damn close to $1 billion or something like that. And then a couple years later, they're out. So that's good. I mean, I'm glad you have the views you got, Eric, because it's sometimes I get in my own bubble, and I'm not saying that he's right or wrong. He's not pushing anything.
Nor am I. I'm
He's
not saying he's right or wrong.
He's not pushing anything.
He's 100% right, and you fuckers are wrong.
No,
No,
just saying.
kidding.
He's not. At least he's not coming from something that goes, "You got to buy electric cars because that's what's going to make our environment better." Really?
Right.
Let's look at and let's go ask those guys mining the minerals for the
Cobalt.
batteries if they're loving life, right? If they're making the world better. Let's go really dive into electric cars. And they're like, no, don't dive. Just accept that electric cars will do a lot.
Again, I think it goes back to my flaw that we've identified many, many times in the past, that I like to think shit's being done right.
I know.
Right? You're having debate.
Right.
before
Whenever
decisions
you
are
get
made.
challenged, whenever stuff gets, your own beliefs get challenged,
I like it.
sucks.
Because
right?
Eric defaults to the good. He's the Boy Scout.
I
All right.
think
He
it's
defaults
the
to,
good.
well, they're in control. They should be doing this.
Right.
And it's the good.
Right. That's right.
And Marty's like,
And
but
don't get me wrong, I've
historically-
seen it on the bad. I've seen it on the bad too.
Oh, yeah. No,
I
yeah.
just like to
but
think
You've got
was
hope
do
in
it right.
society. Yeah.
yeah,
I was with Eric not that long ago. I mean, I was a believer in a lot of these.
I
news
remember
programs, right?
having these discussions with you, Marty, where I'm like, yeah, but, and you're like, no, they wouldn't do that. I'm
Right.
like,
That's right.
okay.
Because you got to believe in something, right? But then I got black-pilled. And it's just like, I don't believe any of these fuckers, right? Tim Pool calls it the uniparty, which he's absolutely right. Right, left, they're all part of the same group. They walk out of the room and they're like, you're a Republican, you're a Democrat, you go right, you go left. And they go like, okay, thanks. There's $1 million in it for me, right? And they're like, yes, there is. Just down that hall. Because all those guys. And when you realize that Fox News and all those right-leaning a lot of those right-leaning publications, all they want to do is just piss you off. There's no solutions. They're just like,
I would agree
can
with
you
that.
believe the left is doing this? No, I can't. What are we doing about it? Nothing.
We told them about it.
Nothing. Because half your guys on the right are in it too.
I guess where I stem from
Mhm.
is we have a flawed system, but it is better than what the rest of the world, in my opinion, has. That's where I'm going.
Sure, but I mean, to bring it back to Dr. Soon, or at least this segment, the use of science to influence the population is as old as time. It's a trick they did as Salem witch trials, Galileo, Europe, even Columbus, right? World's flat, baby. What are you doing?
Mm-hmm.
And it's a way to control, and they've turned that into a profit margin. And that's what sucks, because science isn't a consensus. Science is always supposed to be challenging itself, right? The 9 out of 10 dentists who recommended Dentyne shouldn't have had a consensus. There should have been more of those guys who are like, it's fucking gum. That's bad for your teeth, man. Right? The guys who allowed cigarette smoking to be like, I think this is pretty bad, but I'm not going to say anything.
No.
Not till later.
In other news, my Nancy Pelosi investment tractor funds is up 22%.
Oh, you're so smart. You're so smart.
You got on the right
Thanks,
boat, man.
Nancy.
Right boat. Yeah.
All right.
All right, Marty, I know this is a little ridiculous, but can we give a shout out to the 3 Georgia Guard people? They released those names finally of the military people that died in Jordan.
In Jordan.
In that
they were
drone
all
attack,
guards,
so
right?
Yeah.
2 females and a guy, right?
Georgia. Georgia Guard. Yep.
Yeah.
So sorry, guys. Sorry for your family. Sorry for everything.
I mean, they stepped up though. They're good on them. They took the oath and they put their life on the line.
Yeah.
And for all those civilians that are like, we don't have any troops on the ground there, they're like, those numbers are padded, so you don't count on the ground until you've been there 120 days,
right,
or 90 days,
right. Especially in that location, right? So
we've got people everywhere. And,
do you have their names?
They're still
their
dying.
Names? Their names have been published, I think so.
Yeah, and
man, we were just talking about the guardsmen, so good on them, man.
And that's the thing. Those guard guys get called up, and they're day in, day out civil people, but I just closed out that tab. Sorry.
All right, I got it. Specialists, and they were promoted. 2 of them were promoted posthumously. So it's now Sergeant Brianna Alexandria Moffitt, Sergeant William Jerome Rivers, and Sergeant Kennedy Layden Sanders.
All right.
Salute to all 3 of you and your families and friends.
Yep.
Thank you for stepping forward and putting your life on the line. Yeah. So, cheers. All right. That was a lively discussion, Eric.
Woo!
That was fun. That was fun.
That was fun. That was good.
I still enjoy you and your shoulders, Eric.
Yeah.
Keep it up. You can't
I'm
fight
not
it.
dead yet. God dang it.
Dr.
Hell
Soon
no,
would
man.
swoon at the size of those biceps.
The jealousy in that man's eyes.
Oh,
He'd
shit.
be like, I don't know. How big can those get? They must be full of methane.
Oh, you're
It must be full of methane.
kids.
Full
We're
of
so canceled.
Yeah,
Nice.
I feel really bad about that too.
Oh man.
No, you don't. What are you talking about?
That's not methane, baby. That's hard-earned work.
There you go. That's hard.
That's right.
Let's end up, huh?
And
Yeah, all right. On behalf of all of us here, I'd like to thank you for listening today. Please like, share, subscribe, and let us know how we did in the comments. And make sure next week that you are not late for changeover.
Changeover.
God.
I just want to leave you with this one closing image of Eric crying after the Tampa Bay loss. Just Winnie the Pooh. No pants, nothing but a jersey, walking around his house
Did you share it?
crying.
Where is it?
No, it's a mental image. I
Yeah,
don't
it's
have an
always-
image. I don't have an actual image of him walking around pantsless, but I can see him
I know where that came
just
from,
full
man.
Winnie the Pooh,
You
shirt
remember Animal
only.
House? You remember Animal House with Donald Sutherland was the
Yep.
girl's professor?
And he
he's
came
walking
out with
in
just
Oregon.
a shirt.
Shirt
Yeah.
on, his ass was hanging out.
No, he had the
That's
sweater. He had the
Oh,
sweater.
that's
Her
right.
sweater on, I think. It was her
Yeah.
sweater.
It was something like that. That's a visual there, buddy.
Ah, very
Animal
good.
House, filmed in Oregon.
That's right.
Yeah.
Oregon State, I think, actually.
That is.
Yeah, very
Go
good.
Beeve.
What a claim to fame.
Yep. Animal
Man,
House
thanks.
and One Flew Over a Cuckoo's Nest.
That was in Oregon, too?
Hell yeah. Yep.
Oh, speaking of that, before we go, I found out one interesting item about a movie. Remember First Blood? The first one.
Yeah.
The first
Yeah.
one he did. It was up in
The,
Oregon.
the
right?
bridge between Oregon and Washington.
Is that the bridge?
Yeah.
I had no idea. In the book, the Sheriff Teasel, he was a Korean vet. And Korean vets at that time had animosity towards the Vietnam vets because they got all the publicity and the Korean vets felt that they were forgotten.
It is the Forgotten War.
So that was one of the reasons why he wanted Rambo, John Jay, out of his town.
So nasty to him. Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought that was it.
Very cool.
That is interesting.
Yeah. Thanks for the week, and I'll see you next week.
All right, guys.
All right.